Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to my channel, Holy Ache. So happy to have you here. So happy you clicked on this channel, or this video rather. As you can tell by the title, I'm going to be giving you your June tarot scopes. So allow me a brief moment to drop in and I'll get right into it. All right, let's get into it. So what is going to be the main focus for the month of June for Taurus? Four of Wands. Coming to a deeper understanding on your relationship to play. What feels good to you? What does play look like to you? What does pleasure look like to you? Are you allowing for pleasure and play in your life? Are you allowing for pleasure in your body? Your relationship to your body? All of these different things. I'm going to look into these other cards here to get more information about what's going on with this, but I'm really getting the sense that there's a need to draw your attention away from something, and in order to do that, it's like getting to a place where what I'm getting with this card is like drawing your attention maybe away from more of a serious focus to like understanding how to balance work and play in the month of June, and what's guiding this energy forward. So we have the Six of Cups. As I look at this, I feel like Taurus, in the past, you've been called to understand and to learn more about your needs and what support feels like to you, what support is actually nourishing to you. Coming to an understanding of the fact that like maybe you can't place so much of your attention and energy on one particular thing. And for some Tauruses, it could have been like you were moving out of a period of grief, out of a period of like maybe things not going your way, and really taking the time to focus on like just being in that state and like allowing yourself to feel and grieve and ache over something that you've lost or something that didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to. But I'm seeing like that was probably in the more distant past. And coming into this present moment, it's like you've learned how to build yourself back up. You've learned how to ask for support, how to support yourself, how to nourish yourself. You come into a greater understanding of your feelings. Like I'm really with this, I'm getting the sense of an emotional expansion, and with that, it might be too with this Four of Wands that like you're coming to a place of celebration of like, shit, what happened a year ago, however many months ago, how corny, even a decade ago, like you maybe went through something really challenging, and you've come through that and learned so much about yourself through that. So in the month of June, it's kind of like looking back at how far you've come and really allowing yourself to celebrate in a sense, to say, oh shit, like I've really come a long way. And with that is like, how do I celebrate? How do I, what's the word that I'm looking for? How do I celebrate myself? I guess I don't know. I'm trying to think of like other words rather than like celebrate, but it's like taking the time to give yourself a pat on the back and say like, even if there's so much further that you want to go, coming to a place of stability in the month of June and like allowing yourself to be at peace in the present moment, allowing yourself to have play in the present moment and not worry so much about like what else you have to do in the future to like get more to where you want to go, but just allowing yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And that might not be anything, physical. It might not be like having money, although for some Tauruses it might be having more money, having more friends, having more opportunities. But for some Tauruses it could just be like a feeling that you feel within yourself, having more confidence, having more peace, just being more mature, feeling more like an adult, feeling more like yourself, and just taking the time to celebrate how far you've come. And what this is bringing into where this is guiding your attention is to the Queen of Cups. So with the Six of Cups, it's like you've learned so much more about emotions. You've had this emotional expansion, and now it's just kind of like, how do I embody all that I've learned about myself? How do I embody all of the I'm getting like sweet serenity that I've come to, and how do I express that more in my day-to-day life? How do I really show my, now that you're realizing like how far you've come, it's like, how do I better express that? How do I better embody that? Like, I've changed so much, and maybe even like your idea of who you wanted to be has changed. And that could be what you're realizing in the month of June, is that like you've changed so much after going through this period of grief and then emotional expansion after dealing with that grief, to where now you're just like, oh, I want different things. Maybe like I'm a bit quirkier than I thought before, or maybe not even that. Like, because I feel like when you say, at least when I say quirky, I feel like a lot of people think that quirky looks a certain way, or that quirky is only available to certain people, or like quirky looks like Zoe Deschanel, or I don't know, Jennifer Lawrence, or even Doja Cat to some degree. But it's like, everybody is weird. Everybody's a fucking weirdo. Everybody has like places in themselves where they veer from the norm, where they don't want to conform. And I think in the month of June for Taurus, it's like coming to a realization of like how that you are different, or maybe like realizing ways that like you hadn't completely been yourself, because how I'm trying to figure out how to like bring language to what is coming to my mind now, but just like realizing where you weren't allowing yourself to breathe as yourself, the places in your personality that you didn't allow to breathe, or that you didn't allow to fully express because they were kind of out of the norm. And maybe even coming to a realization that like, oh, I was really conforming in this area of my life. I didn't even realize that I was conforming to the norm, and like not paying attention to what I wanted and how I felt and what brought me pleasure. And again, coming back to that, I feel like in celebrating yourself and wanting to do nice things for yourself and wanting to play, it's like realizing that your idea of play has changed, realizing that your idea of self-expression has changed, and really questioning like, okay, how can I better embody this? And what is pushing all of this forward is a tower moment. And I feel like, how can I put this? Like, yes, you are still kind of like building back up from the foundation of a tower moment, which I feel like is part of the tower, is like the tower is having this realization, this intense enlightenment around where your foundation wasn't serving you, or where it wasn't really built upon like your truth. It was built upon like what your parents told you was true, or what your people at school told you was true, or what TV told you was true. And or it might even be like what limiting beliefs told you was true about yourself, that maybe you weren't worthy of something, and maybe that brought you to a career path, a relationship, a way of expressing yourself that wasn't really in alignment with who you really were. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like, yes, you're still building yourself back up from this tower moment, but the tower moment I feel like it happened a while ago, or like the crash of the tower, the like tumbling down of the tower happened a while ago, and your grief around it, you've already kind of taken the time to grieve and learn more about yourself, and again expand emotionally. And this could have been like, I feel like this journey for some Tauruses is something that's been happening over like multiple years. This isn't something that's like that happened even this year. This wasn't something that happened a month ago. Because I mean, how can I put this? Like, their tower can come in and leave very swiftly, but the aftermath to get to like where I'm seeing you are now really takes time. It's not something that can be accomplished in a week, at least not accomplished to a place where like you really feel it in your heart, rather than just like have an understanding in your brain if I'm making sense. So I'm really feeling like for some Tauruses, this is something that has been happening, that you've been moving towards over over like multiple years. And in the month of June, you're coming to a place where you feel like you can kind of rest a little bit, where, and not even just rest, it's more than rest. It's kind of like realizing that you have so much more space inside of yourself now, if that makes sense, with this Queen of Cups, and just saying like, oh, I'm different internally in a way that like maybe doesn't match my external, and like how can I better embody that? And where this is moving you to is the Four of Swords. And I feel like this is more of a, like sometimes Four of Swords, at least to, how can I put this? Sometimes when I look at minor arcana cards, it feels like something that's short term. But when I look at this as being like where you're being guided into your future, it's like you're just not worried about the same shit that you were worried about anymore. You're not allowing for certain things to take you out of your place of peace. And honestly, I feel like looking at this is more so like, because if for those who don't know, like obviously, I mean, even just looking at this card, you can see this is a period of rest. But I feel like it's more so like coming to a place of peace within yourself, like having this steady current of peace that like runs through you, and really and placing importance on that, placing like high priority on your peace, and saying like, and taking the time to question like, okay, before I make this decision, like, is it going to bring me more peace or rob me of peace? And even with that, it's not even just like, because there are certain things that like might rob us of peace in the present moment, like wanting to expand to work on a new project, that like, or wanting to like move out of the country or leave your job or whatever. That might not be peaceful in the present moment, but long term it's bound to bring you much more peace in your in your state of being. So I feel like it, like when I say like asking yourself if this thing brings you peace, I'm not advising you to not take risks, because I mean, taking a risk isn't necessarily going to bring you peace, but it's like thinking more long term about it. And I feel like I'm going back and forth with what I'm saying, but it's like questioning like what's going to bring you peace in the long term, what's going to bring you peace in the short term, and like really kind of weighing out instant gratification versus long-term gratification, and in terms of like what's going to bring you peace, if that makes sense. But anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent there, but ultimately what I'm seeing where this is bringing you to is a place where like you place peace on high priority, whether it's long term or short term, or I wouldn't say short term, whether it's long term, playing the long game as far as peace goes, or like what's going to bring you peace in the present moment. And what additional messages do we have for Taurus? Coming together. And I feel like this is supporting a lot of what I've been saying of like you're starting to see the fruits of your labor a bit. You're starting to see like, it could have been in the past, like with this tower moment brought to your, or it might not have been something that was brought to your attention in the present moment, but it was something that like, how do I want to put this? Like this tower moment could have been something where like you had a flash of realization about like what was no longer serving you, but in tearing down this foundation, whether you doing it intentionally or the universe or life doing it for you, it really brought you on a path where like you had to tear down a whole bunch of other ideas about yourself, and realizing like where you misplaced parts of yourself, where you'd been cutting off parts of who you actually were, or maybe just parts of yourself that needed to mature in order for you to fully realize them and come to a deeper understanding of yourself. And I feel like now, starting in the month of June, you're starting to come together. I feel like all of those pieces of yourself that you had compartmentalized, had cut off, had ignored, or that needed to mature, you're starting to see that like you're more of a fully formed person now. You feel more centered in yourself, more grounded in who you are and what you want and in your values. And it's really allowing you to come to a place of peace within yourself. Like, I know this says rest, but to me it feels like peace of just saying, like, I don't have to maybe try so hard anymore, or I don't have to worry about what people say about me anymore. Because it could have been like you were placing so much of your mental energy in things that did not matter at all, and now you're realizing, like, I have so much space in my brain for other things. I have so much space in my brain and in my lived experience for play, for pleasure, for just enjoyment in my lived experience. And also realizing, like, you're always shifting. And that might be something that, like, you have more goals around. Like, you're realizing that even though you've come so far, there's always going to be more to grow to, but you've come to this place of internal stability to where you just feel like at peace with the fact that things are going to change in your life a bit, because I know Taurus is y'all are somewhat stubborn. Y'all like for things to be comfortable. You like to before you make a decision about something, you want it to be something that feels secure. And not all Tauruses. I'm more so speaking to, like, the Taurus archetype energy, but really coming to a place of maturity and strength, and recognizing that, like, whatever changes in your life, whatever shifts, whether internally or externally, it's kind of meant for your betterment. It's meant for your growth. It's meant for you to learn, and you're just coming to a place of peace around that. And with womb, I get, like, the sense that you're willing to be more creative, and that brings me both to the Four of Wands and to the Queen of Cups. I'm just, like, wanting to be more creative in how you express yourself, wanting to be more creative in, like, the dreams that you have for yourself, and the life that you want to create for yourself, and just, like, really thinking outside of the box, because you realize that the box that you had put yourself in, like, you haven't been in that box for a while. It's if I'm making sense. Versatility, which, I mean, I think the stereotypes for Taurus is that y'all smoke a lot of weed, but not all Tauruses, but even with that, like, that's not necessarily what this card is about, but, like, learning to be more versatile, learning to kind of do things differently from what you've done in the past, because you are different. And again, going back to this, you are always shifting. It's like you realize how much you've changed in the past, and that was really, like, your doing. Like, you've been working maybe really hard on yourself, maybe working really hard on a project, putting a lot of effort towards bettering some aspect of your life or yourself. And now you're just like, okay, if I could do that, what else could I do? What else could I bring into my life? And really, like, allowing space for your vision of your life to expand to more things. Like, there might have been things in the past that you really wanted to do, or that, like, drew your interest, but you were always just like, nah, I couldn't do that, or no, that doesn't make sense, or it'd be so hard to do X, Y, and Z. But now you're just like, maybe I could. If I really put my mind to it, I'm sure I could. And yeah, like, just I'm getting the sense of a feeling of much more freedom in your lived experience. And the Fox card. I know when I look up this card in the book, a lot of times it talks about like being a partner, like being a solid partner for somebody else. So for some Tauruses, it could be coming to a realization, like, maybe in the past you were a bit insecure about, like, what you could bring to a relationship, or just a partnership in general, like what you could bring to a romantic relationship, a platonic relationship, a business partnership, and maybe feeling insecure about that. But now it's like you've come to a place where you're like, no, I'm an asset. I'm an asset. I have something to bring to the table. I am worthy, if that makes, how would that not make sense? But yeah, let me look at the book real quick, see if it has anything additional about that. Fox. Smart, strong partner or mate, wise teacher. The fox is an enchanting creature with plenty of mystique to go around. Fox personalities are skillful in business and also make great teachers. They are quick to learn and adapt to new situations. Foxes are ideal life partners as they commit to relationships for the long term, and their natural charisma keeps things exciting. Fox energy helps us stay true to those most dear to us. When this card appears, reconnect to those you love. Foxes don't do well when they slip away. So, and honestly, for what stuck out to me the most with this is that for some Tauruses, it might be that you're called to show how you have changed in order to help other people, in order to support other people. There might be part of you that just wants to express like, yeah, I did all of this shit, and kind of be like, if I was able to do it, then anybody could do it. And there's a part of you that wants, like, you're so inspired by yourself in a sense, and like so in awe of like how far you've come, that you want to show some of that to the world. And that might not be for all Tauruses, but certainly for some Tauruses, I'm getting that vibe there. And yeah, I believe that is it for your reading, Taurus. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comments down below, and I hope to see you next time. Ciao for now.